Welcome to the Charlie's Cavalry Coaches Show. I'm your host, John Moses. Later in today's show, we'll talk men's basketball with head coach Ted O'Towling. But for now, we'll recap the Charger football season with head football coach Pete Rossomando. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Coach, now that you've had a chance to step back from the season and a season that ended in the regional championship, how did it compare to your expectations from preseason?
I think it certainly exceeded a lot of our expectations in a lot of different ways. I think at the start of the season, our goal was to make it to the NCAA playoff. Once we got in, obviously you want to try to win it, and it was a little disappointing last week. But overall, I think outstanding season. We accomplished a lot of goals and certainly moved the program forward.
Well, controlling turnovers is one of those things you talk about every week, about how it's always one of your keys to victory. I mean, guys ended up turning it over 4 times against Winston-Salem. But other than that, where was really the difference against Winston-Salem State?
I think they got a little pressure on the quarterback and got Ryan out of his comfort zone. They changed some coverages up against us, which they hadn't really done to many people. They just pretty much played their deal and that was it. But that was pretty much the difference in the game. I mean, I thought our defense played good enough for us to win if we could have got some points on the board, and we just turned it over in critical situations. And I thought we were pretty evenly matched on all sides. They had a lot of size on the defensive line, which was not something that we're used to, but we were able to do okay against it.
Well, when we spoke before the season, you talked about how you wanted to be the #1 rushing offense in the conference, and you wanted to be #1 against the run on defense. While the statistics don't exactly bore that out, I mean, how would you judge that goal specifically?
Not well. I don't think we did a good job. I think we needed to do a better job of running the football. It keeps your quarterback in rhythm when you're able to run the ball, keeps your offense, sort of a little bit more regular, where you don't have to get in 5 wides or 4 wide sets, and you can run the ball a little bit. And defensively, I don't think we did a great job because I don't think they saw it enough in practice against us, quite frankly. And when we had to against teams like William and Mary and even Winston-Salem, we had them just at about 100 yards until that last 70-yard run. So we were playing very good run defense. But I think it's just a consistency and not seeing it very often.
Well, with respect to your rushing offense, how much do you think that had to do with Victor Jones?
It had a lot to do with Victor. I thought Mike did a great job, Mike Carl, but Victor is a downhill, pound you in the face type of runner, and he's one of those guys who's just really hard to replace. And Mike was our change of pace back. He was our speed back, and once we lost Vic, we sort of lost that added dimension of being a downhill offense.
Well, we saw Ryan Oshesky write his name all over the Charger record books again this season. Talk about his season and what you observed of his attitude and focus.
Great focus, great attitude the entire year, and really grew up this year. Became a man and took responsibility for his actions, and really worked hard at his craft. Which in the past he not necessarily physically. He always worked physically, but this time it was more mental, more film breakdown, getting in the film room and taking a look at your opponent and really getting prepared, not only for games, but for each individual practice.
Well, I think it's become clear that you really trust him with more within this offense, particularly with how quickly he picked it up when he first arrived in 2009. But, talk about some of the trust that you've really developed with Ryan over your 3 years here.
Well, when you see somebody working as hard as you and the coaching staff, then you really trust them with everything you have. And I think that's where Ryan is right now. He's got our trust. He's got our complete, we're all in on Ryan right now. I think we have 2 great quarterbacks, both of them that work really hard and both that earn our respect. And, we're able to, turn the offense over to either one of them at any given time. But Ryan has made that leap, which he didn't do last year.
Well, the Ryan Oshesky to Jason Thompson connection really became historic at times this season. Talk a little bit about that connection and how it really affected your opponents.
Well, you just talked about trust, and I think Ryan trusts Jay to be in the right spot and to beat his defender if it's a man-on-man situation. In a lot of ways, the way he trusted Demetrius the year before, or the 2 years previous, really, he really trusted Jason to be in the right spot. And when the ball was in the air, boy, it was fun to watch Jason go up and get it, and certainly did that. So. And we look for more of those things to come in the future.
Well, speaking about the future, I mean, what are your real expectations for the offense next year? You're going to return just about everybody except for your center, John Irwin. So, where would you set the bar for next year's offense?
John hasn't ruled out that he's going to leave. He might come back for his fifth year. So we're pushing him real hard. So if anybody sees him out there, make sure you push him back to play his fifth year. And yeah, everybody's back, and we get Victor back, and I think we got some outstanding young talent, freshmen coming up. And you haven't seen Rashawn Wilson yet, who broke his leg in the preseason. Was really having a tremendous preseason camp. So it's going to be exciting. There's going to be a lot of competition out there, and on the offensive side of the ball, and if we can bring it all together, it should be fun to watch.
Well, I think your offensive line group, really had a nice season. I mean, they had their struggles at times with Assumption's front seven, a little bit with William and Mary, but other than that, I mean, the continuity they developed has really been second to none.
Yeah, and that's how an offensive line gets good. They play together. They understand what needs to be done. They work really hard, and I think all in all, from a consistency offensively, they probably did the best job all year preparing for games on an even keel, every day going out working the same way, same intensity, same enthusiasm, and it was great to see them grow throughout the course of the year.
You've already spoken a little bit about your center, John Irwin, but otherwise, do you expect to have your starting five on your offensive line next year?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's coming back, and hopefully we're bigger, stronger, faster, and have an even bigger grasp on our offense.
Before the season, there are always guys that sort of fly under the radar. I mean, now that you're at the end of the year, who was one guy that really surprised you on offense?
Well, I think the unsung hero is probably Josh Smart. I mean, he didn't get a lot of press, and because Jay has a lot of those big yardage gains, but Josh has just been really, really steady, really, really explosive for us. I mean, I want to say 50% of his catches went for first downs. At one time, it was about 75% of his catches. So, he's making clutch catches in big times in the game. He's a tremendous blocker, great team guy, returns punts for us. So I think Josh is the guy that nobody really talks about and has really had a tremendous season for us, helping us win 11 games.
Well, on defense, you're going to graduate both middle linebackers, Charlie Hatchett and Cody Wallace. What do you expect the linebacker group to look like next year for your defense?
I think we'll be young. I think the two guys coming up are Scott Lowry and Jalen Johnson, and those guys will get the first crack at it. And we're going to move Rich Long in from the outside linebacker to the inside linebacker to add some depth. And those guys are going to battle it out in the spring, and we'll see which two come out there in the top of the depth chart. And it's always a constant battle, and we play a lot of guys there, so we're really excited to get those guys out there and playing.
Well, Bernard Risco was playing his first full season on defense. How do you think he made that adjustment this year?
Tremendous. I mean, he's all New England, all conference. Not only got the respect of the people in our conference, but all New England, the sports writers. And I think he was first team, second team All-Region. Just a tremendous season for him. Great physical season. Made a lot of tackles. Made some incredible, just spectacular plays like the AIC touchdown. And it was great to have him out there. He's got great leadership ability, and we certainly look forward to him developing as even more of a leader next year.
Yeah, leadership on defense is something you certainly do not lack between Tom Hurd and then Mike Gomes and Bernard Risco and then Desmond Anderson. So, from a leadership perspective, you guys are fine on defense, but is there an area that concerns you in this offseason about your defense?
Well, to be quite honest with me, I really feel like we're losing some really good leaders. We're losing Desmond, who's been a three-time captain. We're losing Charlie Hatchett. We're losing Rob Hill, Cody Wallace, a silent leader. These guys are great leaders, great competitors, and, these guys are really going to have to pick up the slack for them walking out the door. And, I don't think we'll be devoid of talent. I think we have a ton of that, but I think it's going to be the leadership aspect on the defensive side that really is going to determine whether we play well or not.
Well, your defensive line was really the backbone of your defense this year. You've said it yourself. You put a lot of pressure on them. You expect them to create a lot of pass rush and to really handle things against the run. But as you mentioned, Rob Hill is graduating. Scott Schultz is as well. So what changes do you anticipate, and who do you expect to be playing along your front four on opening day?
Well, Tom Hurd, Raheem Stanley, Ahmet Bashi, those guys will be out there. And, the defensive end position is up for grabs. I mean, it could be Kervin Edward or Alex Quinn or even Alex Dyer. We're not really sure who's going to take that other position. And it's going to be a great battle, and we got a kid coming off redshirt named Eric McLeod, transfer from Lackawanna Community College, and Eric showed some really good things in the fall, and we're hoping that he could try to replace Rob. It's hard to replace that kind of productivity.
Well, what are some of your goals and expectations for the 2012 season?
Well, I think the most important thing is to try to develop those leaders that we lost in the spring and see if we can't, shore that up. If we can, obviously the goal is to, try to compete for another Northeast 10 championship and get back to the NCAAs and, see if we can't finish the deal.
Well, this offseason, you're now into the recruiting efforts. Where have you been recruiting? Is there a certain area you've been focusing on? Can you shed some light on that?
We've got guys all up and down the East Coast right now, scouring high schools to try to get the best possible talent in here and the best possible human beings. And, it all starts with great people, and we want to make sure we get the best people in here first. And then, obviously, you want to have great football players. And I think you can get both. I know we can. We have a squad full of them right now, and that's what we're looking for. So, we're looking to fill some holes on the defensive side of the ball right now, and, got to get some receiving talent in here because those guys are going to be going out the door next year.
Well, that's true. I mean, you certainly have plenty of receiving talent, but you have to replenish.
Yes, we do.
Well, you've been named a finalist for the Liberty Mutual Coach of the Year. What does that mean to you?
Well, it's a great opportunity for us to help our community. Obviously, it comes with a $50,000 donation to the charity of your choice and $20,000 to the school's general scholarship fund. So it just gives us a great opportunity to help the people that have helped us throughout the year and, filled the stands and cheered us on the field and really gave us a tremendous amount of support. And, you can't do it without the fans and can't do it without the alumni, and you certainly can't do it, without the support of the administration. And we've had all that this year. And, I think that's the culmination culminates in a Coach of the Year voting. That's not an individual award as far as I'm concerned.
Right, and just the outpouring of support from this university has really been second to none between the renovation for Delacameron Stadium and now everyone in the administration continuing to push out, and then the Big Blue Wrecking Crew student section has come out really nicely. I mean, let's talk about the fans and some of the expectation and what they've given to you this season.
Well, they've given us a tremendous atmosphere to play football. We come down that hill and we see that Wrecking Crew in the stands, and they're hooting and hollering and they're getting it going, and they make it really difficult on other teams coming in there. And it's helped us to develop this reputation of having a tremendous home field advantage. And, even when we went over to Southern Connecticut, we had a tremendous crowd. Grandstand behind us was filled with blue and gold, and it's always great to turn around and see that and to know that we're supported. And certainly they know that we're putting forth a great effort on the field for them.
Well, Coach, thanks so much for your time all season long. You've given us great access. Thank you for that. And good luck in your recruiting efforts this offseason. Hopefully we'll have more success in 2012.
John, thanks for everything, and you've done a great job this year. Thank you.
Well, thanks very much, Coach. On the other side of this break, we'll talk men's basketball with head coach Ted O'Taling. This is the Charlie's Cavalry Coaches Show.